Welcome back, everyone. You are watching the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage YouTube channel, and today, as part of my finalizing the preparation of the Singer 301A and the roundabout journey I've had with restoring it, it is still, in spite of all of its faults and my complaints, it is one of the best machines ever made, and it is one of my favorites. And I've mentioned to you all many times why that is, but because I've had so many 301s that were just so simple and straightforward to restore, now I think maybe I've gotten lulled into a false sense of they all are like that. This one wasn't, but it is ready now. It is ready to join the others that I have restored, and but I wanted to show you. I think I've shown this before. You want to test a bobbin, right? We gotta have a bobbin winder. My favorite bobbin winder of all time is the bobbin winder that Singer used on the Singer 301. The Singer 400 series is one of my favorites. It's one of the simplest bobbin winders you'll ever use. So what do we do? For those of you who are new, of course you know. If you don't know, we're going to talk about, we've got to do what? We need to I also need to polish that lovely knob there. We're going to loosen our clutch knob. You're going to hold your hand wheel still, just hold it, and then turn just gently. And I need my screwdriver. The set screw on the knob here is a little bit, yeah. I want to actually loosen it a bit so I can turn my knob. There we go. Whenever you turn the clutch knob, you're not unscrewing it because it's threaded, right? It's snug here. All you have to do is turn toward the front, and that's it. As soon as it starts to have a little play in it, it should be fine. Okay. All right. So to wind the bobbin, unlike some machines, we don't put our bobbin spool of thread on the top. It's actually going to come down here, down below. And to celebrate the close to being ready, almost ready, Singer 301, I'm putting a new bright red, Singer red felt washer. I'll call it Singer red. And then I am ready to put my bobbin thread on, and it sits right there. Then you're going to take your thread, and it doesn't have long to travel. You're going to hit that thread guide, and you are going to have almost be ready to thread your bobbin. Now, Singer 301 bobbins, just like Singer 221 featherweight bobbins, they thread the same way as most bobbins. Okay, you're going to have a lot of holes. You're going to see a lot of holes in these bobbins, but there's a small hole. My little pointer piece here. There is a small hole right there. Okay. So that little hole right there, I want you to focus on there, and then on the other side you'll see the same thing. You see all the large holes, but then right here near the center you're going to see another small hole. Those are the holes for your thread. Okay? So we're going to take our bobbin winder and just flip it up to where we haven't flipped it all the way up yet, but we're going to now. For some of you who've seen some of my other videos, especially the recent videos on bobbin winding, you might be thinking, hey, where's that little pin, that little protrusion that you see? Well, they didn't have one on the 301. What they did was, on the drive shaft itself, there is it's going to be very hard to pick up, but there is, we'll see, I don't know if it'll pick up if I zoom in, guys. There. Do you guys see that really fine line there? I mean, it's really fine. You can see it here. It looks like the shaft is split. Well, it was built that way. And there's that one and one on the other side. And if you look closely, you gotta look really close, there is a raised area in that groove that you see, right? And it's actually, it goes throughout the whole shaft. If I turn the shaft this way, now you can see it, I think, right? It's a little weird to see, but that shaft has a crevice, if you will, that goes all the way through, right? So it's literally vertical like that. And what happens is there's a piece that is basically under tension. And when I put the bobbin on it, like I can do here, I was showing you these little holes. Now on some of the other machines, you need one of the small holes on the bobbin to line up with the little pin. But in this case, you don't. We're going to need one of the holes when we go to thread. So you put the bobbin here, and as soon as you push it in, and it's not going to easily come off. You'll have to pull it off because it's under tension. This was a change. I believe Singer did that so that people didn't have to, it was late at night and they had a little light and they were trying to squint to wind their bobbin and, Now, what do we do next? We're going to turn the machine here for you because now we are going to need the one small hole that I mentioned. Well, where is it? I think it's going to be right there. Do you guys see it? It's kind of hard to make out, but right here, you see all the large holes, right? So between this hole and this hole, both of those are large holes. Look between them. Let's see if I can shift the camera just a little bit more. It's very hard to pick up here, guys, but I'm going to come over here. It's right there. Oops. You guys see where my little, this is a crewling tool, someone told me. You see where it's pushing through? If I can hold the bobbin still, that'll help. You see that? You see where I'm pushing this in? That's where that hole is, okay? It's near the hub, near the center of the bobbin. And I want to take my thread and I want to go, again, just like with any other bobbin, you go from the inside. You start with your thread on the inside of the bobbin, not on the outside of the rim. And we're going to aim for that little hole. And if I can't see that hole very well, and it's going to be hard for me to do so, and it shouldn't be because I'm very nearsighted, but you may be trying and thinking, okay, and you're thinking, all right, I'm watching this video and I still can't get this bobbin threaded. It's harder to see, so I'm going to take the bobbin off, and this is yet another way to do this. You take your bobbin and you're going to find, where's that little hole there that he's talking about? Right there, okay? So I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to look for that small hole, and then I'm going to, there it is, I found it. You guys see it? It's right below. If you look right now, if I put my thumb here, you can see two large holes in the bobbin, and then there's a little one right between it, like a little nose. That's what we're aiming for, okay? So let's see if I can pull this off. It's really strange. I'm actually going to turn the bobbin this way and see if that helps me at all. Well, not sure that that did anything. It's not the easiest thing to get, and I know some of you may use the larger holes to thread it, but I'm going to try to do it by the book here, because I want the thread to be on the base hub of the bobbin. Let's get my scissors here and get myself a new end of the thread. Sometimes I find that helps me anyway. I don't know if it's literally helping me or it's just psychological, but we'll try it. Okay, so what do I want? I see that hole, either side, doesn't matter. And I will get that hole there. Come on. Got a little curve to my, there, okay. I can see the thread coming out. You guys see it coming out the other side there? Now I don't want it to fall back. I'm going to hold everything still, grab it with there. There we go. Whew. Some of you may use the larger holes, but I want the small hole because it's closest to the very center of the bobbin. Now I'm just going to push in. I don't have to line up anything because this bobbin is different. However, let's come back out and you will see things that easily happen, and this is normal. It happens very often on sewing machines. You're making success, you're doing what you need to do, and you all of a sudden realize, hey, I had my bobbin thread underneath and it came off. That's all right. Don't lose your thread on the bobbin that we worked so hard to get. Now I'm just going to come over here and come back underneath my thread guide. Okay, thread guides, if the thread falls out, don't panic. It can happen. Now, remember, I'm going to do like I've done on other bobbin winding videos. I'm going to turn. I don't have to hold the bobbin this time because it's already under tension. I don't have to worry about that. So what's happening? As I hold the thread tail in this hand, I'm priming that bobbin. I'm getting it started. And then before I start winding anything, we're going to cut the tail off because, as you all know, thread tails have a mind of their own and they can create a lot of unnecessary frustration for you and your machine. Now, I'm going to pull up and I'm going to pull all the way up to here. Let's get a better view of that. Okay, so my bobbin winder, my winder lever was here, and I'm going to push it all the way up, and now the tire is actually physically touching the hand wheel. Okay, now let's see if it wants to work for us. That's interesting. I'm getting plenty of turning on my hand wheel, but it pushed this away. Now it could be because of this black winder tire. If your winder tire is too large, it changes the distance at which your winding mechanism is set to go. So we're going to go back. And by the way, that tire is larger. There are smaller winder rings or winder tires. They come in different sizes. You can still get this size. This is slightly smaller. This is the original. And we're going to put that on here and see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, then we'll have something else to address, but we take one thing at a time. All right, let's try that again and see if that works better. And it sure is. Look at that. I'm going at a moderate pace here. Do not floor it when you do this. You don't want your bobbin to be wound too tightly. By the way, if you don't have a washer and if you don't want to order one, if your sewing store doesn't have one, at least get a piece of felt and cut it out in the shape of a washer, because these plastic spools will go flopping around and flying. This one's staying stable in part. Now, notice as the bobbin is getting more full, let's focus on that. And if it is adjusted properly, it should stop. There it goes. Perfect. Okay, now you may not have had such an experience. In fact, you may have wound a bobbin and either something happened and it stopped too early because someone has adjusted something out of whack, or very often and more likely, what happens is the thread, it just keeps adding thread and it starts to bulge out on top, and that will create, you won't be able to sew with the bobbin because it'll have too much thread. So we know that this one is actually, I'm very happy with the amount. It has exactly the amount of thread I wanted, and it's because of this little device here. It's just a clip, right? And you can see the way it's shaped, okay? And it comes in contact with the bobbin, and it is designed to make it stop, because what it does is it pushes on the bobbin, and it causes the spring in this mechanism to push away, right? The spring has tension, and eventually the tension is overcome, and that's why the bobbin stops. It was designed to work this way. Now, if you guys look closely, you'll see that device, I think I've shown this in another video, there's a slot here. It is also adjustable, okay? But it worked fine. There's no reason to adjust it. If yours works fine, you are set. All right. So, again, I'll take this off, zoom back out, and all I have to do is clip the thread tail of my bobbin here, and my bobbin is wound, and I already have bobbin thread in the machine. I just wanted to show you how to wind a bobbin. And what do? Well, you just flip that back down. Now, there's something else. Yes, we're going to remove our bobbin thread. You can leave it there because it shouldn't come in contact with anything else. Now, is there anything left, guys? Am I ready to start sewing? No. I once had a client who got a machine from me, very nice, very seasoned sewer, but was new to vintage machines, and they had come from a long distance. They drove to get that machine for me, and they They ended up getting it home and they sewed, and it sewed beautifully. And then they went to wind to bobbin because, of course, the bobbins run out. You have to wind, put new thread on the bobbin. And when she did, she went to use it and it wouldn't work. She thought it was broken. And you know what? I had good news for her. She got a hold of me and I said, hey, what's going on with the machine? And we talked about it. And I just wanted to listen. I was like, tell me what's, because when you go through the whole machine, everything should have been addressed. And it was over here. Now, if you're used to vintage machines, you will know this. And the original users of these machines knew this. However, if you are new, and to maybe not to sewing, maybe you are, or maybe you sew a lot, but you use modern machines. And they don't have a clutch system. And this machine does not have a computer. It doesn't think for you. It doesn't beep at you or throw you a code and says, hey, you should put your clutch. No. Prior generations of our ancestors could do this, and so can we. Hold on a minute. Before I snug that set screw back down, what are we going to do? We're going to hold. We're going to turn our knob back. It didn't take much. It was only like 1/4 of an inch. I snugged it nice and taut, and then I'll just screw in, and as soon as it stops, I stop. Now you are ready. Now we're ready to potentially see if this machine is ready for a new owner. But we'll do that in the next video, guys. I think that next video will be the last video. But again, we want to make sure everything is ship-shape and ready to go. If you are new to this channel, or if you're not new, if you're not subscribed, just hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be reminded when a new video is being posted, you can just hit the little bell symbol. It'll say, hey, the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage has a new video. And if you would like to help me in my efforts to rescue more machines, please consider clicking on the little bell, clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link. You'll see them on every one of my videos, including the home page description of this channel. And you can go right to my Buy Me a Coffee page, easy as can be, and you can donate to whatever level you would like to help me so that I can finance more acquisitions of these machines to rescue them, save them from likely the landfill. If someone doesn't get them overhauled and back ready, I don't know, either that or they'll sit in a basement or an attic for another half century, who knows. But anyway, if you would like to help those efforts, I'd sure appreciate that. And I will see all of you in the next video, because I really think we're going to do one last test stitching, and it's going to be listed. And I'll, like I say, I'll explain what I'm going to list it for and why. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next installment.